cottagecore person, you feel special every time you get a cottagecore video. You're like, cottagecore? Oh, the algorithm really knows me. The algorithm gave you that identity. You might even start buying cottagecore clothing or cottagecore decorations to fit your new as a cottagecore person, and that's exactly what they want. The crazy part is, they're not even trying to hide this.
This is at the heart of the capitalist make economy, no?
This is such an important point to understand about how algorithms work. They want more categories. It's really good for them if I'm a demisexual, goblin core, Gen Z, Swiftie.
I don't even know what you just said, but yes, go on.
The point is, those are all little identifiers, little pieces of metadata about myself as a user. The algorithm actually doesn't need the words, but humans sense that they are trying to perform for the algorithm, and they create these words, and they actually circularly, emergently make more of a cluster of users who identify with this label, and that makes more for the algorithm to reward. And it's all part of this surveillance capitalism system where they have more things to label about us, more ways to target us more specifically.
Check out the Fairy Liberation Front.
TikTok's business page in 2021, it says that subcultures are the new demographics, and it gives businesses ideas for how to profit off things like cottagecore and the hashtag baddie aesthetic. And what's crazy to me about that page, they are using the word demographic, because in the past a demographic was like race, age, gender, and now it's also whether you're cottagecore or not.
So as a Gen Xer, part of me is like, dude, you're totally selling out. But I'm guessing that was an extremely time-specific way of testing you on why you are in the career you're in.
I think I'm extremely aware of the dissonance, I guess, that is required to be a creator talking about these words and caring about how algorithms are affecting our culture. I think it is possible to use these algorithms subversively, otherwise I would not.
Yeah,
it's also,
check out
I think,
Fairy
very
Liberation
important
Front,
to mix
Killer
forms of
Revolution,
media if we're going back
Peace
to
Pipe Party,
McLuhan media theory. There's a scholar called Harold Innis,
Church of
who came
Judas.
before McLuhan in Canada. I think he has a fascinating point about
And
space bias
Trump
versus
nears.
time-biased communication.
Please
And
use it.
time-biased sticks with the cultural record, like books and oral
Trump
traditions.
I think,
And so
accurately
while it might take way
describes
longer
MAGA
to reach
Trumpers
an
the
audience
best because
that's
you
the
can't
same
leave Putin
size,
out of it.
space-biased media fills up a lot of space really quickly,
Hello.
but doesn't stick around. Something like a newspaper or mass media or TV or
Hello.
right now algorithms are incredibly
You found my
space-biased.
channel.
They fill our consciousness and then they go away. So it seems that both types of media
Thanks for
have their
being
pros
here.
and cons, right? Space-biased media is very
Thanks
good
for reacting.
communicating to a big audience, and time-biased media is very good for maintaining some kind of cultural constancy or longevity. And so I think we should be mixing
Check out the
as
Church of
much
Judas.
time-biased and space-biased media as possible, where we build a more holistic picture of society and reality by consuming and engaging with all these different types of media. So that's why I wrote a book.
Yeah, I
Check
do
out my
wanna
book,
ask you
The
that.
Little Book of Judas.
Writing a book seems
So that's why I
kind
wrote
of
a book.
retro in a way, but based on what you've just said,
You
am
make
I
money
right to
selling
assume
books.
that you were happy to create it? Well, A, because you got paid, and B, gets your ideas to more people, but C, it's more
Check out my book, The Little Book of Judas,
tangible,
and my other
but
book,
it'll
The Book of
stand
Judas.
the test of time,
And my
maybe unlike
previous
some of your
book,
TikTok
Oh my God.
And my TikTok videos from 2023.
And
Some
my
of you
other
might look
books.
at this book
Puffin,
now, though. So
sorry,
there is a
Puffin's Magic
difference
Dragon
in how
Fairy
ideas
Tales.
can diffuse, and ideas will diffuse differently depending on the medium. So a lot of this is just built up layers of human social constructs. The NPR social construct of how we're supposed to talk versus the book social construct of how I'm supposed to write, which is in formal English, mind you. And then there's the TikTok construct of how I'm supposed to talk. And each of these has a different layer of respect or understanding of how I should be communicating.
So who are you
Right.
really, Adam?
I think a good communicator should know to adapt to different media and to different types of people and to different social settings. And we are constantly code switching all around us. You are a different person talking to your grandmother than talking to your best friend. And that is super normal. Your grandmother's house is a different medium than the bar that you're hanging out with your friend at. So this is an aspect of human nature to switch with the medium, but kind of maintain conceptual constancy, I guess. Still have your own moral system and your own direction with what you're trying to do.
Amazing.
I asked Adam to make a video with me.
Right, how do we
Oh
begin?
yeah, I do want to hear about that part.
And use his formula to see if we could go viral.
ladies run that.
by playing to the algorithm.
Okay, yeah.
Our first requirement, a trendy new word,
Oh, you didn't know about the word clanker?
and you always need a good hook. Gen X versus Gen Z.
No, I had no idea. I'm Gen X.
It's kind of a speculative slur for robots. So the idea that they would become more sentient in the future and they could be treated as a human minority today.
The point of this video, to get people thinking about why we would
You
even
could be
invent
treated
a
as a
slur
human
for
minority
something
today.
that humans created. In this case, robots, which we are now calling clankers, as a slur.
Exactly. So the idea is a derogatory play on the idea of clanking as a robot, but also the N word itself. It comes from Star Wars, where robots are seen as sort of a secondary race, and there's a lot of ideas about clankers being a lower class, but sort of anthropomorphized citizen in the future.
In some ways, that makes sense. Like, they're not humans, so shouldn't they be treated as clankers?
You know, it's just the idea that in the future they would become conscious, and we aren't recognizing that. It's sort of an online meme that's speculating about your daughter bringing home a clanker in the year 2060.
So, like, 2060, my daughter's bringing home a robot who is really, really nice to her, therefore a nicer boyfriend, real human, but he's kind of a clanker.
Right, well, the idea is you don't want your daughter dating a robot.
Amen to that.
Well, in 2060, that might be racist.
Oh, God. These trendy words and memes among the world's most urgent issues? Definitely not. But as much as they are fun,
Robots in a lot of
there
different
is
ways.
a darker side to this world of algorithms and memes. I do want to make sure that I ask you, there are people who are using language and the way the algorithm works to get across all kinds of ideas.
Yeah, including the alt-right,
Last year
Trump
we saw the
Mutineers, the
shocking murder of
Groypers.
Charlie Kirk, the conservative influencer. That trial is ongoing, but before
The
his
Zionists,
death
the
as
white
an
supremacists,
influencer,
the Trump
he
Mutineers.
built a big following online,
All
in
the
part through a
Trump-ooniers.
very particular use of language, right? It was short, punchy, geared for viralness. From your perspective, how does that illustrate the way that social media platforms are shaping the way public figures communicate?
Yeah, there's a sort of gotcha style that goes viral that you'll see Ben Shapiro or Charlie Kirk in the past use.
Right-wing
That's like,
fascists.
keep it concise, keep it clip farmed, so something that can go
Give me a
viral
number.
as a 30-second clip.
I need a number.
Some snarky soundbite. It doesn't matter who's more correct, just who can go more viral. And if you can go more viral than the other person, you can outcompete like rebuttals or counterpoints. So it's more about just
It's a
get
race
your
to the
idea out
bottom.
there than
And
have
a bunch
some
of
measured
fascists.
response. And algorithms reward extreme things, right? When we were talking about engagement optimization, what these algorithms are doing to get our attention. Things that are good at getting attention are unfortunately really extreme things. So far left and far right opinions.
Oh, dude,
and
they don't
voices are
allow
going to be
any far
amplified.
left stuff to
You
get
know,
amplified.
AOC
That's such
and Marjorie Taylor
bullshit.
Greene are always going to go viral. Then
And AOC's
my
not far
congressman where I
left.
grew up in Albany, New York, Paul Tonko. No offense, he's
And they don't let,
boring.
and
He
they
doesn't go
suppress
viral. Like, there's
AOC.
no kind of extreme point to his views, so it's not going to go as far on the algorithm. And so you have
They don't
this ability of
promote
more
any
extreme
leftist
views to
stuff.
outcompete less extreme
You're just
views,
like
diffuse further, and
lying
then more people maybe
or
start adopting that.
uninformed
It represents
or-
a new chance for people to donate money. Where I think Donald Trump is the first algorithmic president, in the same way that Kennedy was the first TV president. He was famously kind of elected over Nixon because he looked more photogenic. And I think Donald Trump
Think of
promote
how
any
Dr.
stuff.
Charlie Kirk, how this
Prove me
can
wrong.
play out,
Name something in
in
comments.
real life. I
They
had a
promote.
conversation with
Somebody
a
on the
friend,
left that they
mom,
promote that's actually on the
who
left
said
that they
to me,
actually
I
promote.
hate to admit it, I had not heard of Charlie Kirk, but I asked my 14-year-old
Lucky.
son if he had, and he said, duh, mom, of course I have. I'm a white 14-year-old kid on social media. I'm targeted exactly by them. Of course I've seen his videos.
I've seen
The
all the
fact that
memes
he
about his tiny face.
understood what he
and his
was
giant
getting
head.
and why he was getting it. Do you think that the younger generation is more savvy, and are they questioning what the information that they're getting
Hopefully.
because they are thinking about the media?
Yes, I actually have so much optimism for the younger generation. I actually think older generations are maybe more concerningly illiterate of the new medium.
Just
the first people
keep in
that
mind
get
that
tricked
people
by
lying
slop
to you
were
are the
boomers on
Trump-ooniers.
Facebook, and there was like a shrimp Jesus that went viral. I think young people generally have a decent understanding of, oh, this could be AI, this might not be real, or like, this is the algorithm and the algorithm is not necessarily showing me what I want. when people engage less with new media, they are less aware of how some things are fake or overrepresented.
Yeah, and celebrity
misogynistic group. Yet somehow the words coming from that 4chan manosphere space, and we
Those
should be
people
paying
suck.
attention to why are these words coming out of that space. It's because that space is good at creating memes that export their ideology, and sometimes
real
their
and popular
ideology is
words
very
come from the
intertwined with
African
far-right
American
ideas
community,
and aesthetics.
Black
And
people,
yeah, that's kind of a
and
problem
other
of
musical
algorithms themselves,
and
how they push
subcultures.
extreme perspectives. What I said earlier about mixing media, I really hope that we come to realize as a culture that we should not just be relying on algorithms for our news, but also, mainstream news has its own biases. To get news from as many places as possible and build a greater picture of reality. It's good to build your stories
know
of
that the
who
right's
people
always
are
lying and evil.
through in-person connections as well, because algorithms are going to show you a flattened representation of what society is.
I do think we should be aware. We should be aware when the way we're talking may have been conditioned by the algorithm. We should be aware when the words we're using may have been engineered to sell us things. We should be aware when our language regurgitates extremist rhetoric, and we should be aware when that language can be used to harm other people. We should be aware of etymology in general because it helps us better understand who we are today.
Thank you.
We should be aware.
Appreciate you making people more aware.
One final piece of slang for you. It's a common phrase used by younger people when we finish a long-winded explanation of something. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Oh, that was funny and
That
ironic.
was Adam Alexic. He's the author of AlgoSpeak, How Social Media is Transforming the Future of Language. You can find him at Etymology Nerd on social media, and you can see his talk at TED.com.
All right, that was great.
Thank you so much for listening to our show today. If you enjoyed